Hola, and welcome to the Munciana facility in the next to last episode of the high school Munciana Courtside State Championship Eve. Mike Lingenfelter, along with the great Randall Gardner.
All right, we're going to talk about last week's semi-state. 1A South, we had the Christian Academy takes down Hauser in straights. Any thoughts on that?
Well, it's congrats to Hauser. I mean, we're going to spend some time talking about Christian Academy in a minute or so, but we'll get back to them. But good win for Christian Academy.
Yep. Out of the north, Westell in a 5-game thriller takes down Pioneer, and it sounded like Pioneer had a pretty good run early in the match. Had a good crowd from what some tweets and everything else, but just a little too much Westell, too much Sutton.
Westell's Westell's number one for a reason, and we're going to talk about that in a minute as well. Pioneer, they're very, very well coached. Rod does as good a job as anybody. Once again, just like Hauser, great year, and at some point Rod's going to crack that nut, and Pioneer will end up in Worthing. It just won't be this year.
Yep. 2A North, Providence. Can't say enough about those guys. They take down Ritter in straights to take the north of 2A. And then also in the south, Southwood wins a 5-game thriller over Knoll.
Well, that was the only question mark was who was going to come out of the South.
Yeah.
And we both took Southwood because of our friendship with Tom Finnicle, a great friend, great coach. And we'll talk about both Providence and Southwood in a minute as well. That was a great win for Southwood over Knoll. That's the good
They're in
news.
the state championship last year.
The bad news is you roll into a tsuami, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about
3A South, Northview, number 6, kind of under the radar and on most people's eyes, takes down Brebeuf in 4.
It's only fair. Brebeuf was they're off the radar, not under. They're off the radar last year when they came in and won it all.
Yep.
And I'm sure that Northview is thinking the same thing. We're going to do the same thing this year that Brebeuf did last. Great win for them. Congrats again to Brebeuf on a great year.
And 3A North, Concordia takes down Belmont in the 4-game. They also had a big win previously in the semifinal against Marion.
2 years in a row.
Yep.
2 years in a row that Concordia's rolled in and beat a fine Marion team badly. They sealed the deal against Belmont and Craig Kroll. Probably just too much Tiana Williams at the net. But this Concordia team is a great team. Congrats to Taylor Bebout and the Belmont squad, though. Good year for them.
Yep. 4A South, Cathedral, we talked about having to run through everybody, and they sweep Roncalli in the championship.
Well, I'm a little surprised by that.
Yep.
I was surprised when I saw that they swept them. I mean, Roncalli's a great team, and so, I hate to see them bow out of this thing, but so many good teams had to bow out, for these final 2 teams to be where they're at. But great season by Roncalli, and we'll talk about the Irish machine.
Mm-hmm. In the north, we had Carmel squeezed by a Valpo team early in the semifinal that day, and then ended up being straights Elkhart Memorial in the final.
Yeah, Elkhart Memorial is a good team. Valpo and Elkhart Memorial in our top 10 off and on all year. Carmel, it's what they do. Carly Scott, another year, another chance, 3 straight runs at it, and it's going to be interesting. Congrats to Elkhart and Valpo for great years, and congrats to Carmel. I'll see you guys tomorrow on TV.
Yep. GearMunciana.com, state finals preview. We want to get on to it. You've done your research. You have all the info. The 1A game, Westell, number 1 versus number 3, Christian Academy.
I think your 1A and your 4A games are going to be, they really could be great volleyball, high level volleyball. 2A, 3A right now have the potential to be, if people don't do some things to alter what teams want to do, it could be blowouts.
Yep.
1A, I think, could be, it's going to be a great way to open today. I understand this, that Westell, who is playing Christian Academy, is 10 miles away from Worthing Arena.
Yep.
So they're going to have a huge crowd on their hands. They're the home team.
Sleep in their own beds.
Yeah. They're also an experienced group. Christian Academy's first trip ever to the state championships. And so I think that's interesting. The keys, I thought, to victory, I had written some thoughts. I think that Christian Academy, the key for them is they're going to have to handle the ball. They have got Sierra Razor, Krista Bosing, Allie Stumler. those three kids are significant. Those kids are one-team players at Kiva.
Yeah.
I mean, those three guys are very, very good. If they can handle the ball and put their setters and put their setter in a position to tee it up, Westdale could be in trouble. So I think that Christian Academy, they got to take care of the rock. If they can pass it, it's going to be tough for Westdale to win. Subsequently, Westdale's key, surface pressure. They're going to have to keep the hammers at bay. They're going to have to serve balls and make this a 10-foot game, and then dominate the back 20. It's kind of how they play the game. I think those are the keys to each team. I think the key players, I think it's pretty easy. We've been talking all year about Alyssa Sutton being the best player in 1A. He got to hold the phone for a second, though, because Krista Bosing, and not because I played with her dad, Krista Bosing's a real deal. And Krista Bosing's a year older than Alyssa. But I think that it comes down to it. I think Sutton and Bosing are the best two players in 1A. So Krista Bosing has to win the one-on-one with Sutton. Sutton has got to be the star. If Sutton comes out and is the best player by far on the court, Westdale wins. If Bosing blacks her eye, Christian Academy marches on. I think that, there's some things that have got to happen, but I think that, to be really honest, it's going to come down to serve and pass. I think if Christian Academy passes it, Westdale's in trouble. If Westdale serves the tar out of it, Christian Academy. Watch Sutton's jump serve tomorrow, though. I think that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
The beautiful part of tonight, though, since I'm doing the TV broadcast, I can't have any favorites, and your picks will be done by Mr. Gardner. Who do you take in that one?
I'm going to go with, we just talked about the serve and pass game, and I'm going to go with Sutton being a big-time player, and I'm going with Westdale.
I've always said players play, winners win, and stars are stars in games of that nature. And whoever steps up to the plate's going to be. But
it's going to be a fun game to watch. Right?
Oh, my God, it'll be great.
2A, we got number 1 Providence, been there all year long, versus Southwood. Tom Pinnacle in the career.
Southwood, it's almost like marching Christians into the Lions. Southwood could become the second team in the history of IHSF AA volleyball to win a state championship with 12 or more losses. Southwood could become the first unranked team to win a state championship. And all they got to do to reach those milestones is to beat a Providence team that has won 36 straight sets. They're 12-0 in state playoffs since my Wapahani team beat them a couple years back. They haven't lost a set in state playoffs over 2 years. Keys to victory, it's just, do what you do, baby. If you're Providence, do what you do. The only thing that can happen to them is, if they lose sight of what's important. I've always told people the only way the favorite loses to the underdog is if the underdog cares more. And something tells me that Providence crowd is not going to let Southwood care more. Southwood, they got to let it all hang out, baby. They got to throw it and go. It's Lake Placid with the Miracle on Ice. Joe Namath
Bring it all out tomorrow.
Joe Namath called it with the Jets and Colts many years ago. I remember talking in 2002. It was the first state championship I was ever involved in at Wapahani. And we were playing a Michigan City Marquette team in their heyday. And they were much better than us. Not a little bit, but much. And I remember in the pregame talking to our kids, and I told them that if we played Marquette 10 times, they would beat us 9. But all we needed to win was 1, and that 1 has to be today. When we marched out there and we beat them in straights, and I ran off the floor, not because I was celebrated and excited. I just didn't want him to make us play anymore. But anything can happen. But Tom's going to, he's going to have to pull a rabbit out of a hat. I think the key players, it's going to come down to the setters. Patricia Mattingly for Providence is gifted, man.
She might be the best.
She may be the best setter in the tournament right now. She's really, really good. And I've said all year long that, you want in NCAA basketball, you want a senior point guard running your show. Well, folks, Patricia Mattingly is your senior point guard. On the other end of it is Sammy White for Southwood, senior point guard. And I think that whoever wins that is going to have is going to give their team a significant chance. Sammy White can't just win it. She's got to whip Mattingly's tail to lead Southwood to a victory.
Big task.
It is a big task. It is a big task, but you know, we'll see what happens. Your pick.
No shocker here. I can't do it. Providence is just too much, and like you talked about, they just got too many guns. They've been there before. Great run by Southwood, no doubt, getting here and doing everything. You know, Tom had his doubts earlier, and they found a way to get there.
It's what Tom
too much
does.
Providence.
I'm anxious to see what happens there. You know, I don't want to say it would take a miracle, but he may be up for sainthood if Tom could pull this off. But should be an entertaining game.
Yeah, no doubt. 3A, we got number 2 Concordia, Fort Wayne, versus number 6 Northview.
Well, I don't know. You know, Concordia was there last year, and one of the things I kept harping on in the TV telecast was Tiana Williams was doing a great job, but she had no help.
Yep.
She had no one help, and so the keys I think for Concordia, their setting has got to be steady. It doesn't have to be great. It's got to be steady, and steady involves setting the right guy. I mean, you just can't. Sometimes we got to be smart enough to get out of the fire. I mean, you got to set your dog in those games. I think the setting is going to be key. They're the only team in the tournament that runs a 6-2 offense.
Yep.
And those two kids have got to be pretty good. I think the other thing is that Tiana needs a dance partner. She needs somebody young or someone is going to have to step up and have a good game.
Yep.
You know, somebody else is going to have to give some stats other than Tiana Williams, because T's going to get hers.
No doubt.
She's an Under Armour All-American, for God's sakes. She'll get hers. For Northview, they have got to find a way. They can't stop Tiana. They got to slow her down. You know, and if they can slow her down, they got a shot. Their goal should be to make this a ball control game. Don't make it a net battle, because you are not going to win a net battle against, you know, the highest reacher in the tournament. This kid,
No
Tiana,
doubt.
is way off the deck, and she's, you know, an athletic matchup nightmare for Northview.
Yep.
They've got to make it a backcourt game. I think the key players, Concordia, you know, it's obviously Williams is critical. I think Grace Miller, the coach's daughter, is huge in this one.
The libero.
Yeah, because she is going to be the key to keeping them in system. If Grace can keep them in system on serve receive and defensively put them in transitional opportunities, Tiana will go off. And I think Grace Miller is the key player for Concordia. I think the key player for Northview, I think it's 2 guys. I think Madison McDonald and Mackenzie Kump, their pins are going to have to be all world. I think if their numbers exceed Tiana's, they've got a good shot. But those 2 guys are going to have to be all-stars.
Yep.
Your pick.
Fort Wayne Concordia, second time back. I just think too much tea to finish it up for the year.
Well, I know Trish Miller hopes you're right.
Yeah, no doubt. 4A, this is the one we've been waiting for. Carmel gets back for the 3rd straight year, number 5, versus the number 1 Cathedral Irish.
I can tell you. This is going to be interesting. You know, these 2 teams have played twice.
Yeah.
Carmel beat Cathedral in late August, August 30th. 2-0 tournament play. Cathedral returned at Carmel and beat them 3-2 in a war late in September. You know, I don't know. You know, you look at it and you're going, okay, this could be the matchup of the day. What a great way to finish it. Keys, first ball contact. I think that if Cathedral passes the ball, they will roll, baby. You got to understand, if you look at the stats of every team in the state tournament, some have 2 guys, 3 guys with over 100 kills. These guys have 5 guys with over 100 kills.
It's like
Adams.
It's like UConn basketball for the girls.
It is. Audrey Adams is about 5 kills away from having 200. It would give them 4 out of the 5 attackers with over 200 kills. What a great job.
2 guys over 125 blocks.
Oh,
They do it all.
crazy net numbers. Crazy net numbers. So if first ball contacts, I'm talking pass and serve.
Yeah.
If Cathedral can pass it, they will roll. They're too deep offensively. If they serve it, they will dominate the transition game, because if they can force Carmel into an out-of-system type game, oh my God,
Yep.
they'll roll. But their serve pass has got to be key. If they're on serve pass, I don't think anybody beats them. No one. Carmel, I think it's a couple things. I think service pressure, you got to keep those big cats off the net. Those guys are just all over the place. But I think the other one, Mo Armstrong.
Can't play like a freshman.
Madeline Armstrong is a 9th grader, but Madeline Armstrong has got to be good in rotations 4 through 6.
She's got to be Scottie Pippen.
She's going to have to score. She's going to have to score so they can get Carly Scott. Carly Scott is no doubt the best player on that team. But tomorrow,
maybe her and T are the top
best players in the state.
Okay.
But I will tell you, tomorrow, the most important player, maybe Madeline Armstrong.
I agree.
The best player, Carly Scott, but the most important, Madeline Armstrong, has got to get them out. She can't have empty swings. She's going to have to terminate them to win.
Carly's going to need a Robin. She'll be Batman. She's a Robin.
She is Batman. She'll like that. She's not a big fan of nicknames, but she may take Batman.
Yeah.
Key players, Cathedral. I think it's Kendall White, Peyton White, Delaney O'Neal, Jazzy Smith. Anybody who defends and or passes. Jensen. Anybody who defends and or passes for Cathedral. That's their key players. If they can take care of the ball, this could be really an interesting event for the Cathedral Irish and their fans. I think they're the key players. And I hit on it earlier. The key player for Carmel, Mo Armstrong's got to be good, man. She's closer to being a sophomore now than she is a freshman anyhow, so let's let it roll. But she's going to have to help them out. Big fella, who's your pick on this one? Last pick of the year.
I know.
Maybe the toughest.
It is, but it's the same thing we go back to. We picked these guys at the start of the year. We took Westell for the 1A. We took Providence for the 2A. We took Concordia at 3A. We did take 4A. Cathedral. Not going on a limb. I'm going Cathedral. I saw them earlier in the year. The reason why is if they do pass the ball, it's going to be unbelievable. I saw them. They played Westfield. Not saying Westfield played great, but they put a ball on them, and they just ran them over. Everything was perfect. The offense was perfect. They were passing the ball. Cathedral, but Carly Scott will have a big night, and I think she'll make it interesting.
Well, Carly Scott, one of the things that most people don't know, there's only been one team, I think, in the history of the state to ever be a runner-up 3 years in a row, and I believe that was Mishawaka Marion several years ago. Carly doesn't want that.
No.
And like I said, no one wants that for anybody. Carly Scott is a beautiful human being and a great player. We'll see how it turns out.
Yep. And like I said, in sectionals, I watched her too, and it was amazing. She fell down 1-0 to Westfield, and she just switched gears. Took it over. So
that's what the players play.
Best of luck.
Winners win.
Yep.
Well, thank you guys very much. We'll be back on Sunday night's show to tell you how this whole baby went and give you the final top 10.
See you next week.
Till then.